My Fijian Voices is proudly produced in partnership with the British High Commission. If you live in Fiji and is a regular on the social circuits, then you would have met Mario Basilio, socialite, entrepreneur, blogger, stylist and social media influencer. This Rotuma native is a lot more than what meets the eye. Tonight I introduce you to one of the most passionate and creative Fijians who profiles more of the work he does through social media.
Bula Vinaka, my name is Mario Basilio. I'm a social media influencer and this is Mai Fijian. I'm Bula Vinaka, Fiji. My name is Mario Basilio. That's my stage name. So what I do is I take over businesses on the social media platform, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I post for them. So every day I post for them of either the product they're selling, or they want to push a deal going on, especially with restaurants or spas, or that's like a Father's Day coming up. Like for now, there's Christmas coming up, and a lot of people wanted me to blog about it at the same time, say something different about what you cannot get it from somewhere else. So it's more like an online advertising, but only on social media platform. Well, straight after high school, I went to the hospitality school because I like meeting people. I like get out there and have a social life, you know, meeting people. I like to mingle and have a good time and party. And on top of that, when social media became famous all over the world, I looked at it and I'm like, there was a thing called influencer where people get paid to just show up and party. And not only that, but in between they will able to promote product as well and get paid for, you know, promoting product like where do we go for the best Mexican food or best Chinese food or Korean, or where to get this from. And because Suva is so small and social media became so big, you don't need to get out of your door to know where it is. All you have to do is just go online and it's there. And I have to be everywhere, so I take photos and I promote the product. At the same time, I'm enjoying the food and I'm getting paid. I mean, why not? Well, creativity is to me is either you have it or you don't. And with me, because I like home decos, I like getting dressed up, I like meeting people. To me, I put myself out there, and to me that's creativity. You put yourself out there and you meet a lot of people, and the background of their stories, you link everything into it, and you knew that, like, okay, I can't be just watching a movie or just having a normal conversation with this friend and you get creative, but it's going out and even like just getting up in the morning and, you know, just do a sit-up, and that's when your mind is open. Or even like going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and you do some research or watch some blogs, and you know, you get ideas every day. Every day you learn something new, and I think that is the creativity. I used to send emails to companies and tell them what I do. Most of them took them a while for them to come back and ask me again the same question. And I repost or resend the same email and say, this is what I do. And they don't really understand. It took them, most of them, about 2 to 3 years to come back to me and say, okay, we'll try it out. We'll try it out and see. And when they try it out, and then they thought about it, and they're like, yeah, we'll get back to you once we have a budget for it. But they normally get back to me. But the problem was, take them a while. In Fiji, it's really hard because they think, oh, anyone can post. They didn't know that it's everyday posting. People need to see what's new every day. You cannot just post once a week if you're a business, if you're trying to promote your business. You have to post every day. So this is what I'm trying to tell them. You need someone from outside, like a consultant. So that's when I come in. And then most of the business that I signed a contract with, as soon as my contract is over, they ask if I want a full-time job. And I told them, no, it's okay. I like my own space, and I like the consultant, which is I can work from wherever I want and in any location.
Mariam Basilio is Fiji's original blogger and was the first social media influencer that turned his hobby into a blossoming career. Today, he can boast to working with some of Fiji's most reputable brands that includes the tourism sector, government, private, fashion and retail, and is one of the most requested influencers for event attendance across Fiji.
When someone talks about, I go to the rock market or any market, and I told them, oh wow, this looks really nice. How do you do it? How long you've been doing it? And they'll tell me, oh, we've been doing it for a while. And I'm like, you know what? I can promote your product free. I mean, so to me, I'm offering my service for free because I believe that this product will go a long way, and I don't need, I don't ask for money or anything, but because I believe the story behind the product, and I wanted to see it grow from there. So that's the best thing about what I'm doing. And you have a lot of time to do that, but you have to be careful who you pick and know the product, because when you start promoting a single product, at the end people will say, oh yeah, you know, that's him, the one that promoted the product. And if the product doesn't go well, it affected your name. So you have to be careful who you choose to promote for free, you know, because at the end of the day, people talk about it, and you don't want your name to be in a bad side of it. In the beginning, when the lockdown happened, a lot of clients, because marketing is one of the first things they let go. It's not on their budget. But I put my prices down, and I told them, most of my clients, I told them that everyone is going to be on social media and everyone is going to be on the internet, because they want to see what's happening, what is going on. And at the beginning, I had a break for about 2 weeks, and most of them came back and they say, okay, do you have a COVID price? And I told them, yes, I have. And with less work for me. What keep me going at this COVID time is helping each other, reaching out. Just last week, actually this week, Boulevard, they do a lot of cancer work. Denise, she's the head of the Fiji Boulevard, and she asked me, hey, we're doing this makeover for a chemo patient, and do you want to come over and just, you know, take some photos and put it up? And I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to, a lot of people thought that I just only go to fashion shows, awards night, parties and big function. But I do little things that I don't really post and talk about it. But I find that, no, I need to put it all up, because everyone look at, if they can see my party side of me and all the functions I go to, there is another side that that balancing it, you know. Everyone always say, why you always look so fresh? Why? It's because the energy of giving yourself to helping others, that's the energy you get from inside. And I believe that, you know, it's balance the life. You have this side of you which is you don't really talk about it, and you have this side which is everyone thought that, oh, all he does is just party and that's it. So yeah, I find that that's my motivation of what's going on right now with COVID. There will always be ups and downs, no matter what you do in life. For influencer, I think you need to really be careful of what you post, or who you talked about, or what are you, why are you doing this? Why are you going to this event? Why did you say this about someone else's business? So to me, I think is giving out positive energy, a positive post. It makes you feel good, and not only that, it makes other people wanted to see more about your product, wanted to see more about what you say, what are you selling. So I think always think positive, always, because at the end of the day, love wins. So positive is love.
Next, we meet the queen of cupcakes. Christelle Lavaki from Lady Cupcakes profiles her SME and talks more about her inspirational journey. That's ahead on My Fijian Voices. My Fijian Voices is proudly produced in partnership with the British High Fijian Voices is proudly produced in partnership with the British High Commission.
I'm thrilled to say that the winning team of Pacific Island Food Revolution Season 2 is Team Fiji.
Wait, what? I heard Fiji. Did you hear Fiji?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard Fiji.
Meet Christelle Lavaki, award-winning self-trained chef, baker and arguably the queen of Fiji's cupcake scene, whose signature cupcakes has made her a household name in the capital city's bakery scene.
Hi, I'm Christelle Lavaki and I own Lady Cupcake. I bake, I decorate, I do social media, I wash the dishes. But this is my Fiji. Lady Cupcake initially started when I was a broke uni student. The name itself only started about 5 years ago, but through my undergrad, that's how I paid for my books, how I paid for basically to live when I was in my undergrad. Because I was a full-time science student, I couldn't get a regular job like everyone else, like work in a bar or in a coffee shop, because our timetable was so cramped. So Lady Cupcake essentially started out of necessity. I needed to find a way to buy books, I needed to find a way to buy, pay for my bus fare to go to school, things like that. So I'd get up at 2, 3 in the morning every day before school. I'd make a whole bunch of morning tea and I'd come to town just before my classes were. So I'd always time my lectures at 10 o'clock. So I'd be in town at 9 and I'd sell morning tea, and then I'd carry on my bus ride to school, and then I'd go to class and do a full day of school, bus home, do my shopping for the next day, and sleep and repeat. Then later on, when I went into postgrad, same thing, I needed a bit more money because being a uni student is really difficult. And the higher my education went, the more expensive things got. So in my postgrad, what I do was, then I was a bit more fancier. Then I had an office at USP. So I'd take in, say, 2 or 3 dozen cupcakes, sit them on my desk at work. I'd do my schoolwork or whatever teaching assignments I needed to do for USP, and I'd sell cupcakes out of there. And then I found out people really liked what I was doing, because I refused to just give you chocolate. I wanted you to have chocolate and galu, which is coconut caramel. When strawberries were in season, I wanted to try out fresh strawberries. So I basically made the whole of USP my guinea pigs while I was trying out all of these flavors. And so obviously there was some like, no, these flavors don't work too well together, or oh my gosh, you need to always do these flavors. So over the years, the flavor profile built up. And so now there's 27 signature flavors. Even though there's 27, we always have the 4 main ones that people always ask for, but that's basically how Lady Cupcake started. It started out of necessity. The typical answer would be like, this inspired me. But to be, like I mentioned before, Lady Cupcake was born out of necessity. But my inspiration comes from, I'm really blessed because I grew up in a family where, man, Asking's Christmas is ridiculous. Like, we go all out. Like, I don't know a single member of my family that does not cook. So Christmas, you know, instead of like, okay, we're gonna bring one roast chicken, Christmas is like, oh, I made stuffed kai lasagna and a self-sauce pudding. One person in the family, there's 6 of you, you know. And so I was so blessed growing up like that. Like, people always assume that it was because my mom owned a restaurant, or I grew up in the restaurant industry, but it's really my family, both my maternal and paternal side. When I went to the village recently, I realized that my uncle, my dad's younger brother, who is the most traditional Itoke man you will ever meet, he's the Turang Nikoro and all of that, but he makes the best ngalu. Like, I will bet you anything, my Talalai's ngalu is like the best you'll ever eat. And so that was very inspiring because, and he refused to teach me, because ngalu is something that's taught to men. It's not taught to women, because that's how men court women. They take over ngalu and be like, if you marry me, I will make the most beautiful ngalu for you for the rest of your life. And so I thought that was a beautiful thing. My entire family respect food like that. We don't do it halfway. We've never been taught to do it halfway. Like, my mom made lasagna from scratch, everything. Like, we make the pasta from scratch. We make every single component except the dish, and the oven is baked in. Like, everything else is made from scratch. My uncle baked all of my cousins' birthday cakes growing up. And they were amazing birthday cakes. Like, this is before you could go on Instagram and look for tutorials, you know? Like, I remember my uncle making this birthday cake for my younger cousin, and it was the shape of a milkshake glass. And it was creamed, and like, it had all these bubbly things on the top, and it was so amazing. So that's the kind of sort of environment that I grew up in. And so even though I followed academically, I'm a marine biologist, the food is always the thing that's always been center. Most of the stuff is, I do everything because I'm a control freak, I like to think. So I like things done a specific way, and that's my curse, I think, because when I first began, I had the last $14 that I had in my pocket. I took a gamble. So I bought number 10 chicken, and I got it chopped up. Never made roti before in my life. So I made about 18 batches of roti till one of them wasn't like a rock. So took the risk of spending the last $14 in my pocket. Bought one number 10 chicken, and I bought cocoa because I figured people like roti parcels and something chocolatey. And so those are the 2 first things that I took out. And it sold out that day. So from that $14, I made $30-something. Boy, and I thought I was like making it rain. But yeah, the struggle is doing everything on your own, taking the risks on your own, not having anything to fall back on. And to this day, it's still the same. Just trying to still be creative, but make money at the end of the day, because that's how you pay your rent, that's how you pay for your bills and everything. So it's always juggling that thing of like, am I gonna sell out my soul today and make something that everybody wants to eat, or am I still gonna be creative and present stuff that I want to present and make people love it? And the risk involved in that, having to fund your own creativity. So because I have a background in marine biology, one of my biggest things was always finding alternative packaging. So as much as possible, I try not to use plastic in our packaging. I try to source packaging that's biodegradable. It costs a ton to bring it in, but at the end of the day, I can sleep well. I know that our products aren't going to add to the plastic in the water. It's not going to add to the trash in our landfills. And so for me, if I can go 100% biodegradable, 100% non-plastic, I will. When the lockdown happened, because I'm still a very, very small business. And so it was like taking extra things to the border to like deliver to customers who are in Lami, you know, and meeting people at the border. I never thought I'd have to do that in my lifetime. The biggest panic was when people never listen to instructions, like other people's actions affect your business. That is the scariest part, because if I can't move, I can't get a paycheck, I can't pay my rent, I can't buy food, things like that. Sugar, when the lockdown happened, I paid $15 for a kilo of sugar. You know, that's like you pay less than $4 for in normal times. Sugar was like a black market item. Like I was literally going from friend to friend, like, how much sugar can I buy off you? Like, okay, said I got 2 kilos spare. Like that, I collected, and some of my friends are really awesome. A friend of mine named Reshma, she owns a supermarket. And so she said, I've got 8 kilos left. Like literally, that's the only sugar I have left. So she gave that to me, and that was another big blessing. So aside from the stress of COVID also showed me a very communal side of Fiji. How even like Sangeeta from Eden, like she doesn't have to help me on any day. You know, we know each other. She knew my mom, but she was just like, I bought a whole carton of sugar for you here. You know, and those little acts of kindness were the best things. That's sort of what pulled me out of, okay, I'm not going to die during COVID because I can't pay for things. I get to make people happy. I get to, on a daily basis, I get to remind people of something they ate when they were kids. I get to remind people about where I'm from, which is the most beautiful place, Laos. I get to experiment. I get to be creative every single day. I mean, I still do the basic, like, oh my gosh, I have to decorate a cake, and it's a standard thing. But I also get to create these things. And then when you get feedback from people, over the weekend I did a wedding for 2 really, really nice people. And it was so nice. They sent me a video after that. It's the most gratifying job because you're just like, you made this day even more special. I mean, it could be the other way around. You could make a horrible mistake and make it the worst day possible for them. They're like, the cake destroyed the event. But 90% of the time, you get the people who are just genuinely happy. And that's a beautiful thing.
After the break, I introduce you to one of the household names in Fiji's art and creative scenes, Lambert Ho. You're watching My Fijian Voices on Mai TV. My Fijian Voices is proudly produced in partnership with the British High Commission. Voices is proudly produced in partnership with the British High Commission. Meet Lambert Ho, an artist of Fijian and Chinese heritage that is based in Fiji's capital city, Suva. Lambert has been a creative force on the Fijian and Pacific's art scene, whose work includes fabric art for fashion shows, contemporary jewelry with the use of natural local materials, visual art and decorations for Christmas and other special events. He is exhibited around the Pacific, including Australia and New Zealand, and has museum pieces in both the Vancouver Museum and the Sainsbury Museum in London.
Bula, my name is Lambert Ho, an artist based in Suva, and this is Mai Fiji. My dad is from Kandavu and my mum is from Overlau, Mai Viti. Art has been an amazing part of my journey, and I've been working professionally as an artist since I was 19. And that's a couple of decades under my belt. In 1989, after coming back from the States, Dad had a shop in Assese. That's the way it all started, really. So it was a little grocery shop in Assese. It's the first shop up Raduskuna Road. And so it being a grocery shop, I had a day job working in advertising for Wilson Addison in those days. That was in 1989. But in the window every evening after work, I'd come home and I'd paint and hang garments on the windows of the shop. And inside on one of the counters, I used to work my art, work my magic on the counter. And I used to just paint on any material I could get my hands on, whether it being masi or fabric or pieces of wood, and I would hang these things on the windows. And I had a wonderful expat community who lived up the road. You have expat communities up in the Domain area, up Raduskuna Road, in that Domain part of Suva. And they appreciated the art, and they used to come and buy my art, whether it was a sarong or whatever it was. So that was where it really, really kicked off professionally for me here in Suva. So yeah, and the business grew from there, really. It wasn't a business per se. It was my name, being a brand, really, that propelled me to the forefront of art here in Fiji, and then later around the Pacific and internationally. Yeah. It never was inspiration for me. I think this is a God-given talent that I just pursued. For me, as a young budding artist, I just did it on a daily basis because I knew it could make money. I knew that with this raw talent, I could take myself further. You know, creating beautiful pieces, aesthetically pleasing, that people would buy to put up in their homes. That was the inspiration for me to work harder at it and to build my repertoire in terms of how I was creating this art. So inspiration came and went, as it always does. I was inspired by masters of the old, like Picasso and Michelangelo, and works that I had breathed in spaces like Mexico and San Francisco, wherever I went, to be inspired to see how they created these things. But for me as an artist, it was me on my own building up this momentum to being what I am today. Creativity for me is the originality of an idea and taking it further than what it's supposed to be right here. That's why I don't conform to anything that's that you might find normal, and I try and change that concept in young budding artists who do kesa designs that you've seen all over the country. For me, that's boring. I mean, if you want to be an artist, and if you love the fact that you can paint and draw, and if you know it's a God-given talent, then it's yours alone, which means you're identified as this person to take this idea to another level. For me as an artist, what I found difficult here in Fiji in the days, and I'm talking about when I professionally started working, was materials and the cost of the materials. We would get things that were destined for high school students, not for professional artists. If what we got was professional, it came via the publication houses or the advertising houses, like where I worked at Wilson Addison. We had professional art materials, and then that for me was an amazing space to work in because I could see what was available in the outside world. Obviously, everything came from Australia, New Zealand, or the United States. So I would help myself really to the materials that we had in the office, working there after hours. So the difficulty was being able to find canvas, readily available canvas that we could stretch and work on. great and good tubes of paint, wonderful paintbrushes. Those were the difficult things, the materials that we could not grasp, could not get our hands on here locally. The best thing about being an artist for me is I just love what I do. I'm able to create on a daily basis. I'm able to push my mind, my heart and my soul into something that I've never done before. We create these things. These things are now born into now being a part of the environment. To create something from scratch and to be able to see it stage by stage blossom into an art form, an art piece that would live forever, really is something that I sometimes take for granted, but then I remind myself that this is what you're doing, this is what you love doing, and people pay thousands of dollars for you creating this amazing piece because it's the only one in the world. To any of the young budding artists out there, we're here to help you likewise, but you got to find your niche, you got to find your talent, your raw talent, a part of the soul that is not anybody else's but yours. And only that way you can express it in the way you want, in the way you think, in the way you feel. I can't do that for you. I can't do it for any other artist. You gotta step up and do that. But yes, there is a lot more space on this earth for more artists than people who damage the earth or coal miners or people like that. But we need more artists because without art, the world is just ugh. So really.
Thank you for watching our show. I hope you enjoyed meeting social media influencer Mai Basilio, the inspirational Christelle Lavaki from Lady Cupcakes, and artist Lambert Ho. Now get in touch with me if you also know of someone that has an inspiring story that we can share on our platform. You can message me via our My TV Facebook page. Don't forget to like our page and share this video. I'm Andy Blake. This is Mai Fijian Voices. Nisama de Manta.
Mai Fijian Voices. Mai Fijian Voices. Mai Fijian Voices.
My Fijian Voices is proudly produced in partnership with the British High Commission.